Yamaha Crosswave, built with modular versatility and quality performance in mind. The Crosswave is ready for whatever adventure you're chasing. From the premium FX Limited SVHO 40th Anniversary Edition to the entry-level Jet Blaster series, Yamaha offers something for every kind of rider. No matter what feeling you're after on the water, nothing feels like a Yamaha. Available at S&W Yamaha, Highway 78 just east of Jasper.
If you're in the market for a new home, now is the time to buy at Timberline Homes of Jasper. The deals are huge. The down payments are low. A national lender is working with Timberline Homes of Jasper, and down payments on all single-wide homes are as low as $1,500. That's right, down payments as low as $1,500 on single-wides from Southern Homes, True Homes, Epic Homes, and more. See dealer for complete details. Now's the time to buy at Timberline Homes, Highway 78 in Jasper. Telephone 387-1002.
At U Fitness, it's not about fitting into a mold. It's all about finding what fits you. We offer small group fitness classes, personalized training, and massage therapy to help you feel your best. Classes include yoga, Pilates, Zumba, Dance Fit, bar, meditation, and Silver Foxes for active seniors. Join in and unwind with Wind Down Meditation Fridays. With over 40 years of combined instructor experience, you're always in good hands at U Fitness. Visit us at 401 Oak Hill Road in Jasper. U Fitness, where you fit in.
The sound of Walker County on 101.5 is WDXB HD3 Pelham, W286BM Jasper, an iHeart radio station. Listen on the free iHeartRadio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
It's 9 o'clock and we're going live. This is Live at 9 on WJLX with James Phillips, presented by Young Jewelers in historic downtown Jasper. Real talk, real stories, right now.
And good morning. It's a Friday morning here in Walker County. I think it's going to be a beautiful day today. It was yesterday for sure. James Phillips here on Live at 9 on WJLX. And this morning got a special guest, as always, most of the time. Sometimes we just sit around here and talk. But a good special guest today. We got Sheriff Nick Smith. There he is, looking like a model on there. That's what we try to do. So, Sheriff, thanks for coming in today. I appreciate it. I know it's always a busy time for the sheriff of Walker County, but definitely a busy time with campaigns and everything else going on. And I hope you're having a good morning so far.
Yeah. Good morning to you.
Pull that mic a little closer to you.
Yeah. Good morning to you, and good morning to Walker County. And it's been about a year we've been campaigning now, so it's been a long haul going forward with the campaign, and we're just a few months out. So.
Well, with the campaign, you mentioned y'all been campaigning for about a year, and that's true. And people kept asking me, they said, when are you going to have all the sheriff candidates on? And I said, and this was back in, June of last year. And I said, I don't think there's any reason to have them all on until it gets at least close to the election. But I'm glad I got, had Jason on last week, got you on this week, and I'm hoping to get J.C. Poe in next week. So.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, first question I got to ask. Here's the gotcha question. How does it feel to be on the cover of USA Today?
It's just like anything else, man. It's just, obviously it's one of those situations where they called, said they were doing a story. They were going to do a story with or without any comments or statements from the sheriff's department. I told them that I would sit down and have any conversation that they wanted to have, and I give them access. I said, we don't have nothing to hide here. If you want to come do a tour of the jail, you're more than welcome to do that too. That way we can talk about the changes and things that have taken place as well. And they called me back in a few days and said that they were going to make arrangements to come out and do that. I think it kind of took him off guard that we were so open to allow them to come in and do that.
Yeah. And did they tell you ahead of time exactly what it was going to be about and that kind of thing, or just?
Yeah, I mean, they told us what the story was going to be about, and like I told them, obviously we're limited to what we can say on certain situations and certain things, and but still welcomed them just like I'm here. I'm here. I'll take questions at some point. throughout this show, and I'll answer them to the best of my abilities. And I'm not running from anything. I'm not hiding from anything. You got some candidates they're just not going to answer certain questions, and they're not. It's one thing to tell people what you're going to do, but answering the question how is something totally different.
Right.
I don't think we've gotten there yet.
Right. One of the things, as far as answering question goes, I know there's a lot of things that if I ask certain questions, you may say, "Hey, I can't talk about that."
That's right.
And I've been in media for 30 years, and sometimes I've had to take that answer. And me and you have had that over the years of, "Hey, we need this," and it was certain things you can't say or different things like that. And me and you have fought over the years, or I wouldn't say we fought, but we've disagreed a lot of times. But we've always been able to get the information out there, and I think that's the key, is getting information out there to people. And this interview is a little different than most. I'm not the type of, if anybody watches this show, it's not the type of thing where it's just this boom, 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 boom thing. It's a conversation, right. And I want people to see the candidates just like they see anybody else that comes in here. I want them to see them as a person and what they're all about, and let them decide, hey, here's what I think about that person.
Right. And that's why I'm here, is I want to talk about my family and talk about why I ran for sheriff to begin with, and talk about why I'm running for a third term.
Yeah, and I think that will be the biggest question that I wanted to know coming in is, why would you want to run for another term?
Right.
And on the last thing on the USA Today thing, what were your personal thoughts of it? What did you think once it came out?
Obviously, when I had conversations with him, I just told him that, in journalism, it's I'm just looking for somebody to be fair.
Right.
And I felt like, for the most part, it was fair.
Yeah.
Obviously I can't control certain things about the article because, they're pulling it from situations that are recorded in court. But what I can do is tell you the things that we've done to change that.
Yeah.
And to make sure stuff like that doesn't ever happen again.
Right. And I do think, I thought the article was fair too. I thought the writer did a really good job of putting it all out there and letting people kind of decide for themselves what they think. And I didn't think it wasn't a glaring Nick Smith is an amazing type person, and it wasn't a glaring he's a horrible type person either, which is where I think it needs to kind of land. And good journalism is usually you tick everybody off. And so if nobody's happy with this interview today, that's probably good. I've reached the middle ground.
Right.
But that's I feel like that's what that article was. It was probably that writer was in a no-win situation if it comes to they're trying to make people happy. So
right.
Talk a little bit about campaigning and why did you decide? I mean, you've been sheriff for 2 terms now, and there's been a lot go on. Why did you want to run for sheriff again? You could have just left it and gone home and hung out with your family.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go back to just kind of my family background.
Okay.
Obviously, just a little bit about me. I graduated from Curry High School, 2002. I met my wife. She went to school at Carbon Hill. She graduated from Carbon Hill. We got married in 2006. We've, just a little bit about, if you don't know our story and our dynamics about our family. When we first got married, we tried to have children just like everybody else does when they first get married, and she couldn't get pregnant, and which obviously in your early marriages she was concerned, and she came to me and said, what's your options on fostering to adopt? And I think she was expecting a negative response, but I said, whatever make you happy. I mean, I'm ready to have a family. So obviously it's just kind of a story of kind of how God works and puts things into place. And fast forward, we adopted our first 3 children from foster care here in Walker County. At one point in time, my wife was the president of the Foster Parents Association. It's one of those things that, all of our kids are 2 years apart. And so after we had adopted 3 children, my wife had came to me, and we wasn't in church at that time in our life. And she'd said that she wanted to go to a church that had a pastor that was coming in, and she heard he was good and wanted to go hear him. So we go out there. It was out in Dilworth. It was Dilworth Church of God, and I was always raised Baptist. So I was.
So that was going to be an experience for you one way or the other. I actually grew up at Dilworth Church of God. That's where my family went.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we go, and while we're there, the pastor calls my wife up front, and he tells her that God hears her prayers and that she's going to have a child. And I thought, man, this man just don't he don't know.
He don't know the story.
He has just really probably just inflated her to for something that's not going to happen. And so when we're leaving, his wife grabs my wife and says that the Lord told me to tell you that it's going to be a girl and to name her Hope. So said all that, say this is fast forward, when you see our mail material, this little blonde girl here, she's Madeline Hope Smith.
Yeah.
And so obviously, when you talk about, our first 3 children, obviously, one of our children we picked up from UAB Hospital. Obviously it's all going to be drug related.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest things when I ran for sheriff was that we were number 1 in the state of Alabama for drug related deaths. And obviously being concerned as a father and having children that has to grow up with that, you want to make your county as best as you can and to combat that problem. And that's one of the reasons why I ran for sheriff to begin with. And, obviously we're still fighting to make that better every day. There's a lot of challenges that come to play when you're talking about it's one thing to go, okay, we're going to arrest all the people who are selling drugs. So that's really the easy part of the equation, right? But when I ran, we brought a 2-way approach. It was enforcement and recovery. Whenever I took office, there was over 400 people in that county jail. Some individuals were in there 6, 7, 8 years without a trial. A local pastor came to me, and he talked to me, and we sat down and talked, and we talked about opening up the jail and allowing pastors and things to come into the jail, minister to people, things of that nature. And we opened the doors, and I think it's been a very successful thing. And so we have added faith and recovery as part of trying to help Walker County fight this drug problem. And today, like I said, we run on an average probably about 140 in the facility. Obviously we house some individuals because when you talk about co-defendants and things of that nature, they're housed in other facilities because they can't be in the same jail as their co-defendants, especially if they're serious crimes. But overall, I think that bringing that 2-way approach has been very beneficial for Walker County. When you just talk about the amount of reoffenders that the reoffenders that we are seeing come back to jail, we don't see as many of those. And I tell people all the time, I wish that we could line up, because I've seen hundreds of stories of just positive stories of people who have changed their life for the better. I wish I could just line them up, hold up their mug shots and tell their testimonies and their stories. One of the things that it was over the last several months, we got an Explorer program, which is a youth program. And the young man was out of school. It was on his birthday. He wanted to do a ride along for his birthday. He wanted to ride with me. Otherwise, I'd have been in the office. So we get out, and we're up in the Kansas area because somebody had called in about some complaints. And as I'm driving, the car in front of me has a flat tire, has a blowout. So I drive up a little ways. I turn around to come back, and the car's gone. I was like, where did the car go? There's no side roads. So I start looking down the side. There was a logging trail. So we went down the logging trail, and of course there's the car. 2 guys out there. Obviously they got meth and other drugs, and we arrest them. And the guys begging, say, hey, don't don't lock me up. I'm just going to send me back to prison. I don't want to go back to prison. I said, look, buddy, I said, I know that it looks bad today. I said, but we have a lot of programs at the jail. We have a lot of things going on that I think that this could turn out to be a blessing for you. So when he goes to jail, a few weeks later, he builds himself up to what we call trustees, which is inmates we let pick up litter, go out, work, and things of that nature. Then he gets on the church list because we take inmates to church on Sundays, and he gets on that list. And then you start to watch real, true change start to take place. And then a few weeks later of going to church, his mother starts coming. And then you start seeing, and you see that a lot. You see families coming, you see families get reunited. And then, you see him get baptized. And he's been out of jail now for quite a bit, and we stay in contact. And I think his mother sent my wife a message not too long ago, said he's fixing to start his second semester at Bevel State. That's what we want to see. And that's why I'm running for sheriff for a third term, is to continue that kind of progress. And it's easy to get bogged down with negative and negativity, but I always tell this, if I'm looking for the bad things about James Phillips, and that's all I'm looking for, then that's all I'm going to find is bad things about James Phillips. Because
It's easy to find the bad things about James Phillips.
Because that's all I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But if I'm looking for nothing but positive about James Phillips, that's all I'm going to find.
Yeah.
And so it's really whatever it is you're looking for, that's what you're going to find.
Yeah.
And
Well, don't look either way. Just be fair to James Phillips. That's all I want you to do.
That's right. But that's the thing is, but the bad part about it is negativity sells, positivity doesn't. And at the end of the day, I have seen testimony after testimony of people who are doing better. There are, our goal is to try to get them back in society, to get them to be productive members of our society, and hopefully find them somewhere that they can call home, find them a church home, find them somebody that will mentor them throughout, to help them through their recovery process. Like, we have so many, there is no excuse. I tell people this all the time when I'm out. If you suffer from drug or alcohol addiction, there is no excuse if you want help.
Right.
I can't tell you the countless programs that we have in the jail, the programs that are available if you're not in jail. It's just, had a church member call me yesterday and said that a guy they ran into was trying to find a rehab, things of that nature, and I wasn't where I could answer the phone at that time. And by the time I had called them back, he was already gone, but they had sent him to the recovery den to get information and resources about trying to get himself treatment. There's so many options in Walker County. It's really unreal. And, we've even got these purple bags that we give out that have handout materials. That way when people are released from jail, they have the information that they can access to try to get themselves recovery or treatment or whatever it is that they need.
Right. Well, one thing, and you bringing up your faith and the program with the inmates going to church and that sort of thing, I have seen on social media, a lot of people will have said, get your thoughts on if you talking about your faith, and I'm trying to remember exactly how somebody that I saw had phrased it. If it's like a manipulation tactic, or because you talk about faith a lot in your campaign, speak to that a little bit from your thoughts. I don't want to put any words in your mouth either way.
Right. Yeah. No, it's definitely not manipulation. I mean, the point of the matter is I have somebody I have to answer to. When I die, I'm not answering to James Phillips. I'm answering to the good Lord, and He knows my heart. I don't really care what anybody else thinks because I only answer to one person, and that's Jesus Christ. I don't answer to James Phillips. I don't answer to people on social media when it comes to my faith. I don't care if you believe that it's genuine or not, because the Lord knows whether it's genuine or not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking to the most liberal guy in Walker County is what everybody says, and they're shocked I have faith. So
right.
I can understand that sometimes. And the other thing is, with talking about the people who have issues already, if they're already having drug issues, if they're already having mental health issues, and you're bringing them into the jail, there are people out there who will say, well, that's what Tony's family did, and look what happened to him. How do we know that's not going to happen again? Can you speak to that a little bit?
I think there's a lot of misinformation when we're talking about the mental health crisis, okay? So let's use for an example, if someone calls the sheriff's department or local police department on James Phillips and says, hey, James is out here, he's acting crazy, I need somebody to come out here and check on him, okay? Well, ambulance is going to come, law enforcement's going to come, okay? Well, they're going to ask James a series of questions, okay? First thing they're going to ask James is they're going to say, they're going to use a matrix of person, place, time, and event.
Right.
If James can answer those questions, and if James doesn't want to go to the hospital, guess where James is not going? He's not going to the hospital.
Right.
And the only way that they can take you to the hospital is if they get a doctor's orders. And it's very unlikely that they get a doctor's orders if you can answer those questions, okay?
And the questions, now I'm guessing, the questions are something pretty simple, like, what's your name, who's the president, something like that.
Right.
And I don't know if there's certain questions that they ask, but
it's
that's
usually
what they asked me when I woke up every time from
yeah.
not being around. You know?
It's usually some variant of that, person, place, time, and event.
Yeah.
And then, well, let's say you do have a true mental issue and you need some type of medication or whatever. The family then has options. They could go to the probate judge's office and they could seek to have you committed. This is where we lose people, okay? From the standpoint of when they go and they answer this question, does he do drugs? And when you answer yes, they write it off as a drug problem instead of a mental health problem.
Right.
And so if it is a true mental health problem, it just kind of just is not treated.
Yeah.
Because they wrote it off that because you use a substance and you use drugs, it's a drug induced instead of a true mental illness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I know the state, I feel like the state was wanting to do the right thing when they closed a lot of the mental hospitals. But now there's really nowhere for anybody to go. I know from personal experience, not me myself having to be in there, but family members and friends, like the beds at behavioral medicine units in hospitals are hard to come by because there's so many people needing help.
Yeah, so in 2017, which was before I was sheriff, the state of Alabama did a massive cut of mental health beds. And I remember reading articles, I think it was on AL.com, that the sheriffs at the time went to Montgomery and opposed of shutting down the beds. And I remember one of the sheriff's comments, reading it, and it said, shutting down all these mental health beds is going to make the county jails the front line epic center for the mental health crisis.
Right.
Okay. And that's where we're at today. I've got a guy in my jail that was emergency ordered to Taylor Hardin, which is where we have to send individuals once they've gone through the court process. 3 years ago. He's still 2 years on a waiting list after already being there for 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, that is the system that so it's not like you just arrest somebody and then you just throw them in a mental facility. That's not how it works once they're incarcerated. And usually, for someone who is not incarcerated, usually if they do get through with the BMU commitment, we will go pick up that individual, and usually they'll stay somewhere between 3 and 30 days in BMU, and then they'll be released. And then the process starts all over, because a lot of times when people get their medicine, they feel okay, and then they stop taking it, and then the cycle starts right back over again.
Right.
But one of the biggest things I will say that I'm really excited about is Northwest Mental Health. I met with them. We talked about this crisis team that they have now.
Yeah, I'm hoping to have them come on in the
Yes.
next week or so to talk about it.
We have a person in a certain part of the county that literally, when I say we get called out there 3 times a week, it's 3 times a week.
Right.
So now we have their contact person, as whenever those calls come in, those calls are directed to their contact person with that crisis unit. And so we may not even know about it unless we're needed. and
Right.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that is us moving in a better direction.
Well, and what have you learned over the last several years about to improve the situation as far as mental health goes at the jail? What have you guys done to improve that since having the Tony Mitchell issue or anything that has came up?
You know, like like currently, like we have available for employees now that if they have some kind of mental health issue or they need counseling, we have that. It usually costs us about $350 per session if an employee wants that. We also have it free, a free version of that through Ellipse, so they can. We have it posted up all throughout the sheriff's department that has their contact number that they could call if they need assistance. Our jail, we have for the first time ever in Walker County, we have mental health inside the jail facility. I think that helps. We're going to, as this thing grows with our local Northwest Mental Health, as that grows, we're waiting on some tablets and things that will be issued to deputies to be able to utilize and work with some of these issues. So I think overall, we're in a much better place than we've ever been in the history of Walker County.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing is that moving forward, and that's where we need to be our focus on, is moving forward to make these necessary changes that should have happened a long, long time ago.
Right. One thing too, kind of staying on that just for a second, and this will be my last question before we go to a break. One thing that I don't think I've ever heard asked about is the culture of the people who were working in the jail or in the sheriff's department. A lot of, there have been people who have now been charged and all these kind of things that have gone on. Do you think that there was a poor culture in the jail situation, and what have you guys done to improve that situation?
You know, obviously I'm not walking around with correctional officers or staff 24/7, and it's kind of like similar to like, so I don't know what their true heart or intent is in moments or conversations that they're having behind the scene. But I do think that the fact that we do have to work on trying to get better quality pay for these individuals so we can retain and recruit our best quality applicants. That's our next step of where we've got to go. Is we've got to get away from this outdated system, and I'm assuming after the break we can talk about kind of how our system really works.
I wanted to bring up the pay situation because I know that's been something lately that everybody's talked about.
It's not necessarily just the pay system. It is even how we promote is outdated,
right?
And the outdated system within promotions, and the problem is a lot of the times that the people that we need that are good quality people, they don't want that extra responsibility because they're only given a nickel increase for taking on a supervisory role. Well, there's not many people who want to take on a supervisory role for a nickel increase in pay, to take on the liability to be asleep at home and have your name smeared through the media while you was asleep, but you're going to get blamed for whatever happened because you were the supervisor.
Right.
So
would you say that that one issue was that you didn't have quality people? Because
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that when we talk about how our hiring system works, you'll have a better understanding of how maybe that we get to where we're at. And
have you implemented any sort of I'm trying to think what the right term would be for it, but just any type of training for just better dealing with individuals and treating people as humanely as possible, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so all of our corrections officers, when they're hired, most of our corrections officers now have been through what we call National Certified Corrections Officers Program. Then we also have one for supervision, and then we have basically it's kind of like an executive level training. So it's something that they can start here and then they can get to what we call the gold standard, which is the executive level training.
Right.
Problem is keeping people long enough
to get to there.
To get to here.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, I want to remind everybody we're talking to, he's only got the name recognition of just about anybody. Well, everybody knows we're talking to Nick Smith, Sheriff of Walker County. He's running for re-election. I want to take a quick break here on Live at 9 with James Phillips on WJLX. And we'll be right back to talk more about the re-election campaign and what is going on there at the sheriff's office and the Walker County Jail. Be right back in just a few minutes after we hear from our sponsors here on Live at 9.
Young Jewelers. That name has been a part of Jasper for a long, long time. As a matter of fact, for 3 generations and over 70 years, Young Jewelers has been located in downtown Jasper, striving to earn your loyalty with quality and customer service. Young Jewelers has set the standard in diamonds, jewelry, and gifts. You can afford to have a diamond from Young Jewelers. Our friendly staff can assure you of that. And you're always greeted with a smile and a genuine concern for your needs. Whether it's custom design work or diamonds from one of the name brand vendors, a consultation at Young Jewelers will have you feeling confident you've made the right choice. Young Jewelers, located across from City Hall on 19th Street and online at youngjewelers.com.
Start your story at Bevel State Community College. Whether you need seamless academic transfer classes, high-wage, high-demand career technical or health science programs, rapid training opportunities that get you into the workforce quickly, dual enrollment or adult education courses, Bevel State is your community college for a quality education. Visit bscc.edu to learn about our convenient and affordable options to make your future visible. Your story starts at Bevel State.
Carl Cannon, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Cadillac, Corridor X, and Jasper. We're more than just a new car dealer. We're a certified pre-owned dealer, too. As a used car dealer in Jasper, we have access to a wide variety of used cars from across the area. As a new Buick, Chevy, Cadillac, and GMC dealer, we have the latest models that GM provides from 4 amazing brands. Let us show you around our dealership. With so many options, we're sure you'll find what you're looking for. Browse our inventory online at carlcannon.com. When other dealers can't, Cannon can. Carl Cannon, Corridor X at Industrial Boulevard in Jasper.
Hi guys, I'm Dr. Martin Roberts, owner of Jasper Veterinary Clinic. 3 years ago when I set out to open my own clinic, Pinnacle was my bank of choice to help that dream become a reality. Recently when we needed to expand and had the opportunity to acquire property adjoining to ours, I made one call to Wayne and he set those wheels in motion. If you have banking needs, give Pinnacle a call.
Hello everyone, I'm Drake McKenzie from All South Land and Timber. We've been banking with Pinnacle Bank for over 25 years. The customer service at Pinnacle Bank is first class. We highly recommend banking with Pinnacle Bank for all of your financial needs.
I'm Robin Reed Allen, Chairman of the Board of Pinnacle Bank. Come see our team and make Pinnacle Bank your bank too.
Pinnacle Bank, member FDIC.
If you're craving great food in a place that feels just right, it's time to head to Jake's on 4th in downtown Jasper. From stacked made-to-order burgers to hearty favorites fresh off the grill, every dish at Jake's is cooked with care and full of flavor. It's comfortable, relaxed, and always welcoming. Whether you're meeting friends, enjoying a casual dinner, or just want a laid-back spot with great atmosphere, Jake's on 4th delivers every time. Located at 1810 4th Avenue South of downtown Jasper, Jake's is open Wednesday through Saturday with lunch from 11 to 3:30 and dinner 5 to close. Jake's has great food, an easygoing vibe, and it's a place you'll want to come back to. Jake's on 4th, fine dining done the Walker County way.
Hey, this is Nick Norris from The Game Managers. Every Friday afternoon at 6 on WJLX, Patrick Hanna and I break down the news of the week in sports. From local high school games to the biggest moments in college and the pros. No hot takes for clicks, just sports news, real analysis, and the conversations you actually want to hear. If you like sports as much as us, then make The Game Managers part of your Friday nights. We'll see you there.
The sound of Walker County on 101.5 is WDXB HD3 Pelham, W286BM Jasper, an iHeart radio station. Listen on the free iHeart radio app for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good.
You're listening to Live at 9 with James Phillips, presented by Young Jewelers on WJLX.
And we're back on Live at 9 with James Phillips here this morning. I've got Sheriff Nick Smith, the Walker County Sheriff, in. He's running for re-election, and we were talking before we went to the break, and kind of got a little bit into the some of the things that you've been talking about lately, as far as deputy pay, jailer pay, Walker County Sheriff's Office, hiring processes, things like that. Talk about that a little bit, because I know, like I've seen advertisements out for different police officers that people are looking to hire, different cities. And even in our county, you look at little towns like Parrish and Cordova, and they're paying people $20-something an hour, and county folks start out at what, 13? Is that right, or 16 somewhere?
Just to kind of give you some background. So, whenever I took office in 2019, the deputy pay was $13.66 an hour. It wasn't necessarily the make or break it 8 years ago, because we provided a take-home car. Deputies got a $1,500 a year Christmas bonus. They got hazardous duty pay. I think it was $100, $150 about every 3 months. Jasper Police Department paid $14 and some change. They did not give a car to take home. And all your small towns were $12, $13, $14, right? Now, I remember being the chief of Cordova, and I thought, man, when we got to pay up to $15 an hour, we were doing something. Like, we were stealing people from Jasper,
right?
Which led them to really where they're at today. And so now let's fast forward that we have been left so far behind, and a lot of it is our system that we're bound by, that this cross-the-board system, that if the sheriff's department gets a raise, every county employee gets a raise. If the sanitation department gets a raise, every county employee gets a raise. So this cross-the-board system, it's not that there's not necessarily money there. We've cut $1.4 million from our budget from various things since I've been sheriff, and that money went all the way across the board to every county employee. But if it would have went to just the sheriff's department, we'd be in that fair market wage value. But that's not the way that our system is designed, and what people really don't understand.
And I don't take that as a shot at the county commission, or that's just how it is set up here in Walker County.
It's just the setup, right? Yes. So these candidates that go, well, if I get elected, I'm gonna get the deputies raises, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do that. They're not gonna be able to do anything any different. There's nothing else to cut. We have cut down to the bone. If we cut anything else, it'll be a pure amputation. Like, there's nothing else to cut. And we have to get away from these old systems that's been going on since the 90s. Yep. People want to know, why has Walker County always had problems since the 90s? I know social media makes things sound worse, but Walker County's had problems going all the way back to the 90s.
Yeah.
And a lot of it has to do with these outdated systems that we're still under.
I've covered it and worked in the media since the mid-90s, and there's been multiple times that I've written, and you have not mentioned them yet, and you may or may not, but the Civil Service Board, while I know people that are on the Civil Service Board, they're great people, I just feel like the Civil Service Board is such an outdated way to do things. And there's only, I think, 3 in the state, and we have 2 of them here in Walker County.
So we're so outdated that we're the last of the Mohicans.
Right.
There's 3. We have maybe 3 left, right? So to give you some understanding where we're at today. So now we make $16.63 an hour for deputies now, which is way better than $13.66 when I started. But here's the problem, okay? Is if you're not keeping up with the Joneses, people are going to go somewhere else. And so just in our county, Jasper's at $22.48, Dora, Parrish, Cordova, Carbon Hill, everybody's over $20 an hour. And some of these smaller towns are paying 100% family insurance. Well, how significant is that? Right?
Yeah, that's huge.
That's very significant. And now they provide take-home vehicles, so that, the county gives you a car to take home, save you some gas money. That's not an incentive anymore. We lost our Christmas bonus last year, so last year was the last year that we will get a Christmas bonus because the landfill closed down. So The deputies lost that $1,500 Christmas bonus every year. So it's the best way that I could put it. And, you know, the average police pay in Alabama is $26 to $31 an hour, to give you just how far behind that we are. I seen where Tuscaloosa TPD was advertising at $81,000 plus a year with a $5,000 sign-on bonus. That's about an hour from here. That's good pay.
Yeah.
Starting out.
Yeah.
So here's the challenge of where we're really at, right? So we just got a court order where the judge said, went to court because I don't care who the sheriff is. If we don't change this pay structure and pay our deputies a fair, livable wage, you're not going to have a sheriff's department, because people who are certified are going to take their certification and they're going to work where they're rewarded for their experience and they're rewarded for their what they're bringing to the table. So it is an issue that has to be addressed. And if I could go back to day one walking in the office, I would address this issue 7 years ago and maybe have it resolved by today instead of here on the back end. But I see where we're headed. Like, it doesn't matter if I'm reelected. There's going to be a very serious challenge to recruitment and retainment when you're not in the fair market. But wait, I'll give you an example. A guy, I sent him to the police academy when I was at Parrish. He has worked with me just about his whole entire career and just about most of mine. He left after 7 years with the sheriff's department, making $17 an hour. Okay, I've spent probably $20,000 to get him SWAT certified, to get him firearms instructor certified. You name a certification, he had it.
Right.
Okay. Walks in the door, Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, well over $30 an hour. Doubled his pay overnight.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't do that?
So it's like when I was campaigning, this lady was raking her leaves. That's how long I've been campaigning. And we got on this conversation, and I said, the best way I can describe it is this. You're out here raking your leaves, and if you decide that you want to hire somebody to do this job, I said, if you're paying $10 an hour to rake these leaves, I said, and the house over here is paying $15, but the house up there is paying $20, you're probably raking these leaves by yourself.
Right.
Because nobody's going to rake these. They're not going to choose to pick and rake your leaves for $10 an hour when they can rake the same leaves over here for $20.
Right.
And that's not just law enforcement. That's any job. I don't care what the job is. If you're not in the competitive fair market wage for whatever position it is, whether it's welding, whether it's plumbing, it doesn't matter what it is. If you're in the contracting business, if you're not in that fair market range, it is a challenge. And I'm telling you, just to kind of go back where we were at 2018, we had 35 sworn deputies. We had no SROs. That gave us a total of 35 deputies. So now let's fast forward to today. We have 26 deputies. And we have 10 SROs that are paid. Their salaries are paid for by the Board of Education. Well, on paper, it looks like, well, you got 36 now. You had 35 in 2018. They don't understand that those 10 are paid for by the board, so you don't really count those. So
Right.
We're really about 9 deputies short. Well, here's the problem.
Because those guys are not out patrolling. And,
Right.
I mean, they're at the school.
Now,
So that's
yes,
what they're doing.
and let's go back to this. When you're trying to get the most experienced help, you want experience showing up when you have a call, trust me. And when I'm trying to recruit experience and I have to set somebody in front of me and go, okay, here's the pay scale. I'm hiring you in today. I know you got 20 years experience, but I'm going to have to start you out at $16.63 an hour. If you make it another 25 years, you'll top out at $21 an hour.
Right.
Well, that's starting pay everywhere.
Right.
And then the judge ruled that I can pay anyone within the minimum and maximum of the pay scale, although the pay scale is way outdated.
Right. But it means you could start somebody out at the 21.
Yes. So basically, as long as I don't go below the minimum and I don't go above the maximum, I can pay them for whatever experience they're bringing to the table. So after her order, I hired 2 guys in that was bringing experience to the table at $18 and some change. Well, the commission refused to pay that $18 an hour change. They said the judge got the ruling wrong, and that everybody, regardless of experience, starts out at $16 an hour.
Right.
That's a slap in the face to people that have experience.
Right.
And if you want good quality law enforcement, you have to pay people a fair market wage for it. It's like a guy up in Curry, I was campaigning, his son, we were talking, and this actually came up when we were talking, and his son pulls up, and his son gets out of the car, introduces himself, tells me he's in law enforcement, lives in Walker County, and I said, so you want to come work for the sheriff's department? He said, man, I've always wanted to. He said, I would love to work at the sheriff's department. He said, I just can't afford what y'all pay.
Yeah.
And I said, he worked at Hoover. I said, well, you mind if I ask what you make? He said, I make $70,000 a year. And I said, okay. And I looked at his dad. I said, Walker County deserves the same quality law enforcement Hoover's getting.
Right.
But you're not getting it for $16 an hour, and you're definitely not getting experienced help.
Right. Well, and
$16 an hour.
I think it's obvious if you pay people more, you're going to get better people. You know,
Yes.
I think that's it. But the question would be, how do you get to where you can do that? And I want to tell you, we've only got about 5 minutes left.
Well, let me finish this one thing. So when you're talking about at least the ability to move within that minimum and maximum.
Right.
Okay. If you have experience and I say, hey, I'm going to hire you in at $20 an hour or $21, it at least now makes me competitive with our departments in our county.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it totally does.
Now, here's the problem with our county, right? Jasper's below. Even the counties that are, the cities in our own county that are paying more than us, they're well below that fair market value wage.
Right.
And they're struggling.
Right.
Like, it's not just the sheriff's department. Jasper called one of our guys the other night because they were short on night shift just to make sure we were going to be close by in case they needed us. So it's not just us, it's everybody, because even though Jasper's paying $22.48, they're competing with a 30-minute trip to Birmingham where people are making in the 30s.
Well, and even Coleman, you know, they're competing with all those towns like that.
And like Coleman, I seen where Coleman Police Department was advertising $52,000 with no experience, $62,000 with experience, and you top out at $85,000, you get a 5% raise every year.
Yeah.
And a take-home car.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the challenges, and it's like I said, it's not just Walker County Sheriff's Department. Every police department in our own county is struggling because we're having to try to keep up with people that are within driving range. And I-22 really hasn't helped that because it's an easier commute to get there.
Right. Yeah. Well, I am going to have to wrap it up soon, so I want to give you a second to close. But I do want to say, it's painfully obvious that an hour is not a long enough time to talk to the sheriff's candidates. Because I did not have enough time to talk to Jason Akins about everything I wanted to ask him. I have not had enough time to ask you everything I wanted to say. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to invite all of y'all back again before the election gets here. And if y'all want to do it, or if you don't want to do it, that's going to be up to y'all. But I am going to invite you back because I feel like there's a lot more that you want to say and a lot more that people want to hear about. So, but go ahead and hit one more time real quick on re-election, why you wanted to rerun, and then we'll schedule a day here probably in April to everybody to come back.
You know, like I said, I'm running, and there's been times where I've just wanted to say, this really ain't worth it.
Right.
And my wife reminds me that it's not necessarily that I'm doing it for myself, you know, and she gets to see people over the years that she has seen that came into that jail in the worst times of their life, burnt every bridge that they had to burn, reunited with their families, find the Lord, find some purpose to keep going and going better with a better life and a better quality of life. And those amount of people that we see that thank us for giving them the opportunity and things of that nature. You know, she says it's not about us, it's about doing the Lord's work and trying to open these doors that may not be open to people every day. And that's why we're running. And I'm running because, listen, I've got children I still got to get raised, that I want to continue to fight this drug problem. I want to continue to fight to get our deputies fair market wage for the job that they're doing. I really think that is our needs to be our focal point as a county, to get away from these outdated systems. Really, let's get together and let's work together to get us up to date with the 21st century.
Well, and I think that could help not just the sheriff's office, but the county, all county employees, because I just feel like anybody should be paid and judged on the job that you do.
Well, the biggest challenge was the county told us they were doing a Condrey study, that it would benefit every county department,
right.
that they would be a fair market wage for every department. And they did that. They have not released it to the public.
Right.
So nobody knows really what it is. I think it's because they know that how mad people would be to know how grossly underpaid that they are to do those jobs. The county just said, we can't afford it, and we're doing an across-the-board raise.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's tough to afford, too.
But the problem is we don't know that could they really afford it or not, because
nobody's seen the study.
We haven't seen the study.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, Nick, I appreciate you. I know you got a lot going on and campaigning and just the job in general. So I appreciate you taking an hour to come by and talk to us. And like I said, I am going to invite all of y'all back. I'm going to try to get JC on next week, and then whether he comes on or not, I do want to get at least you and Jason back sometime in April, closer to the election, if you'd be cool with doing that.
Well, I'm cool with debating it out.
Yeah. Hey, now I wouldn't mind inviting both of y'all in here on the same day.
I love the ideas that people bring to the table, but I want to know the how.
Right. And I think that you two guys would, y'all would treat each other with respect sitting here. It wouldn't be an ugly thing.
No, well, listen, it's like as we've disagreed over the times,
right.
Over the years, and I still consider you a friend.
Yeah.
I still go eat and break bread with you any day of the week. So it's not personal to me from that angle. Like I said, it's everybody's right to run for sheriff, but not saying that each individual doesn't have a good idea, but the problem is the how. Right. How are we going to make this happen under the already existing constraints that I have? Because changing the piece of the puzzle for sheriff is just changing the name, because all the other issues and restraints are still in place.
Right. And it's something the others, they need to
electing a new sheriff's not bringing additional revenue to the county.
Right.
So it's either the county's lying about not having the money to properly pay the deputies, or so what's going to change?
Yeah.
Either they're lying about the ability to do it, and they'll do it because it's somebody else. But, I got along with the commission when I first came into office. It didn't get us raises.
Right. And I think the choice for people is, who do you think would be the best leader of the sheriff's office? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah. And I'm tested. Like I said, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we've accomplished things that people said could never be accomplished.
Right.
We've had challenges, just like every sheriff's administration has since I've been alive. But we've learned from those issues, and we have moved forward, and we have tried to correct issues. And the biggest one that I think we got to correct, that I think will benefit the county overall, is at least get us somewhere with a competitive wage so we can not just get quality people, but retain quality people.
Right, hold on to it. Yeah.
Because you take situations where I'm spending $5,000-$10,000 on people to get them these certifications and trainings that makes them so valuable to everybody that's paying a fair market wage.
Yeah.
And they get to walk in the door and get rewarded for what we paid for.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, Nick, I appreciate you coming in today. Best of luck on the campaign, and best of luck. No matter what I think about you, if I like you or don't like you, I'm praying for you and hope that you stay safe out there, because what you and all the police officers out there, sheriff's office folks, everybody, first responders, those are jobs that can be very thankless, and they're dangerous, and I hope that you guys stay safe and do the best job that you can do. Guys who are listening, I appreciate you tuning in this morning, and always on Live at 9. We'll be back next week. As I tell you every day, be kind and love, and do that for anybody. Be kind and love people that you hate. That's what we're called to do. So do that. Have a great weekend. It's supposed to be beautiful outside this weekend, so have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday on Live at 9 with James Phillips on WJLX.